Hey, this is Grant from Unleash the Archers. And when I was asked to pick my favorite band, I don't know about you guys, but I find it really hard to pick one band when, you've been listening to music for 20 years. But if I have to choose one, everyone who knows me, pause the video, comment, let me know what your guess is. I'm sure you're right. It is Iron Maiden.
There we go. Let's go into Iron Maiden. So, Grant, neither of us were born when Iron Maiden came out for the first time. So, at some point, you discovered this band that already had a legacy by the time that you got into it. And maybe, if we're roughly on the same course through life. I'm a few years ahead of you, I think. I discovered Maiden when, it was in the middle of the 90s, when it was, arguably not the most amazing time of Maiden with Blaze, but a period that I kind of like. But how was that for you? How did you discover this entity called Iron Maiden?
Yeah, so I was born in 88. So as you said, Maiden was already an established band. They already put out arguably their best albums already. So as a younger metalhead, yeah, you're always found having to dive back into the catalog. But my introduction was in 2001, I think, with Brave New World.
2000.
2000 when they came back. It was Rock in Rio, the Brave New World, Rock in Rio, which really grabbed me.
Brave New World came out, and Rock in Rio, that 2-punch was a massive comeback. The first Dolby 5.1 surround live DVD ever to be recorded was Rock in Rio. Do you remember watching that for the first time?
I remember vividly. I came home from school one day in grade 7, and I turned on the TV just, after school, just to, watch some TV, and I put on Much More Music.
Okay.
And rock was playing. I didn't have a surround sound. I had like a little TV in my basement. I'd already started to play guitar a little bit, and I was kind of like learning some pop punk, but then I came home and saw that, and it was like I was just blown away. I was opened up to a whole new world, a brave new world, you could say. But yeah, that was a life-changing moment for me.
Yeah. Was maybe we'll come back to the Brave New World album. I'm not sure, but we obviously want to learn from you what some of those specific songs are that really stand out for you. Now, you said it's not an easy task to choose your favorite band. For an Iron Maiden fan, also not an easy task to choose those really special songs. So, what's the first song that for you really stands out?
Well, I'm gonna stay away from some of their best songs, some of the classics. Just do some honorable mentions. Like Power Slave, Aces High, Revelations. All those songs are really, really strong, I feel, and Wasted Years. I mean, there's probably a laundry list of songs, but I want to touch on some of the songs that don't get a lot of love.
Okay.
The oldest one for me would be from the Power Slave album, and that would be the song Back in the Village. Like, I like my power metal kind of thrashy, harder, grittier, right? And Back in the Village to me is like the epitome of like a thrashy kind of power metal song, but done by Iron Maiden, right? So like this really, really cool. The first 2 riffs are really cool, open, kind of like a bluesy kind of riff, and then it just kind of goes into like a very kind of standard, not standard, but like a power metal song. It's got this awesome solo section, right? Dual leads, then they come in for a harmony at the end. it's a complex song for 84. I don't know if anybody's seen them play it live. I'm sure they've played it live, but maybe not. I don't know. Let us know in the comments, I guess.
Yeah.
But that's one song. Like Power Slave is probably one of my favorite albums by him. And that song, I mean, you could also maybe throw in Flash the Blade in there too as a close second for that album. Apart from the classics, Power Slave,
Right.
Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and Aces High, which they've just got monster songs, right? But
Right.
Back in the Village, definitely, if you're not familiar with it, like check it out. It's such a great track.
Forever and ever, when people think about Iron Maiden, they will very likely think about the tandem Steve Harris, Bruce Dickinson. However, as a guitar player, you might be thinking Dave and Adrian. I've not met a guitar player who doesn't have a clear favorite amongst those two. So, what's your pick there? Who influenced you the most? Maybe let's just say it diplomatically that way. Sorry?
You're not going to bring the third axeman, Janick Gers, into the mix?
Well, we could, but I mean, at the time of Power Slave, that would be pretty, irrelevant.
I'm yanking some chains here. For it is. I love them both for different reasons, but you're right. I do have a favorite, and that favorite would be Adrian Smith. Mainly just because of his compositions, songs that he writes, as well as his solos and his kind of lead work is very methodical and tasteful, in my opinion. He's got like really like bluesy,
a little bit more rocky even then.
Very rock, blues, less shred, more memorable, and that is something that I've always tried to emulate in my soloing and my playing is not just to make the craziest solo for the sake of just playing fast.
Right.
It's about making parts of it that are super memorable and that you can hum along to, right? So I find Adrian Smith does that fantastically.
Yeah. Also takes some backing vocals from time to time. Another way that he relates more to you than a Dave.
True. Yeah. And Dave is a really, really good fluent player. Like I think he can just you can just stick a track on, be like, okay, we need a solo, Dave, and he'll just whip it out. Not even really having to think. I think Adrian Smith would be the guy who'd be like, okay, give me a moment with this. Let me try to figure out some parts here, and then lay it down, right? So that's more of like my style too. So.
You said that this was the oldest choice, so we are chronologically going. So where are you taking us next?
Yeah, and it is so hard. This is like picking your favorite child, right? But I'm trying to pick, and when you asked me this question, I was like, I had a few bands in mind that I wanted to leave out because if I had to pick one, Maiden is undoubtedly the band that has influenced me the most, personally and musically. So there, I know it's a bigger band, everybody knows them, right? But it's the one that's true into my heart. And then when I think of songs through their catalog that really has like spoken to me throughout my life, and that don't get played often live, don't get a lot of, either they weren't singles, right? I'm trying to pick songs that weren't singles, and this song from Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Oh no. What album was the song? Is Evil That Men Do.
That is the seventh son of a seventh son.
Okay, sorry. I was just testing, actually.
Okay, thank you. It was also a single, by the way.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay. But that song is just to me, that is just ear candy.
Yeah.
You know, the opening intro with just the bass ringing out the chords, and then the twin guitars doing that melody is just like, oh, that's like chef kiss to me right there. Some really great lyrics, really great vocal melodies. I think the chorus is just like one of the best choruses that Maiden has.
And even, you know, what's also really cool is that the pre-chorus is also really strong and good. Like living on a razor's edge. I mean, I can't sing a lot of you do, but
it's almost like it's almost like a double chorus in that way.
Yeah, 100%.
Songs like that I really enjoy, where it's like the first time you hear it, you're like, oh man, that was an awesome chorus. You're like, wait, that wasn't the chorus, you know, and that's how you want to write a pre-chorus. I love the album, man. I love the album. Moonchild, the opening, just the epicness of just that one little like synth line going. I mean, anyone who knows me and my band's catalog, you guys also know that on our last album was a first introduction to us using synth as well.
Yeah.
So it is like for any band to introduce a new element, it is a really risky move, and you're going to divide people one or the other. You know, some people like it, some people don't. You know, even Dickinson, you can find old interviews before that saying we'll never have keyboard.
I would like to play the heavy metal by synthesizers. You can't play heavy metal with synthesizers. Yeah, I want.
Seventh Son is just full of ear candy. You know, I'm a sucker for really tasteful melodies and earworms that get caught in your head, and you're just humming along and singing it. And you know, that to me is good songwriting. If you're singing along after the song's done, you're still singing it, they've done something right.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, also a bit of an end of an era, Seventh Son of a Seventh Son, because more lineup changes happened after that album. So where are you taking us next? And final choice. Ooh.
What's that?
And the final of the three choices.
Final of the choices, I know. And this is a song that I've loved my whole life since I've heard it. We covered it at one point live. So those of you who already know where I'm going with this, we are going to the Brave New World album, to a very not a hidden gem, but they don't play it often enough, but it's Out of the Silent Planet.
That song specifically, because there's so many good things on that album, which it's such a good album. And I'm sure that's also probably because it was an album that came out when I was really discovering it. So nostalgia wise, it will always be on a pedestal for me. But what is it amongst all those great, cool songs that make you pick that one?
That's a good question. I want to say like the lyrics and the storytelling in it. But then you look at any other song on that album and it's got that as well, right?
Yeah.
So I think personally I tend to gravitate towards the more like mid-tempo, moodier, more emotional kind of songs. You know, and not to say I would always gravitate towards the ballad, and that's not really the case, but like the mid-tempo, you know, anthem song is what I really love. It's either like crazy shred, technical, high vocals and all that, crazy shred, or like this really heartfelt anthem song, are the songs that I on any album. It starts out clean. It's like this mysterious kind of song with just like this faint guitar melody and just, you know, just repeating this vocal line, very similar to kind of what we did in Waking Dream, to be honest, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's this build up, and then it just like unloads on you and it explodes. And yeah, it's just, and I think like a lot of these songs can be very personal for anybody. If they're picking their top 3 songs from any band, they're not necessarily going to be, it's not just because of this riff or because that. It's like sometimes it's because of what that song means to you, because you listened to it in a certain period of time with some friends. It meant a lot to you then, right? Or so like I know we used to play this song a lot at an old house I used to live in. One of my old roommates, he was like the manager at Games Workshop, right? So he was like the guy who's like doing Warhammer and all that stuff all the time. And like this was the song that we would like play all the time when we were like painting Warhammer and doing all that fun stuff, right? It was always the song that we always came back to, and it was like this epic one. And back then I was like, oh man, I want to cover this song so bad. Like one of these days we're going to do it. And then, fast forward a decade later with Unleash the Archers. It's like, so. Yeah, it's so some of these songs are just, they have an emotional attachment because they meant something to me in the past. And when I think about, what songs would I pick, and it's those ones, because those are the ones that are like closest to my heart.
So now at one point Maiden became an even bigger part of your life when you created a certain alter ego. So when did that happen?
So Power Clown, the Iron Maiden tribute band that you're referring to, that I played with them for 5 years. They've been a band, honestly, longer than I've been playing guitar.
Okay.
Which is something to be said. That's like over 20 years. So like growing up, I'd seen Power Clown play at shows all the time. I'd opened up for them, and as a someone in the crowd, this was an amazing man playing one of my favorite bands. They're dressed like clowns. It's fun, silly strings shooting everywhere, and then, so when I moved to Vancouver, like they knew me. We were friends. They knew how big of a Maiden fan I was. They knew I was able to play Maiden, right? So as soon as I moved over to Vancouver, they asked me to join shortly after that.
Is there like a clear lesson that you learned playing these songs, being obsessed with this band, that you've taken with you on your journey?
That's a really good question. And I think the biggest lesson I learned playing those songs and really getting into those songs is that those songs are great songs regardless of how many instruments you have playing them. So for example, we were working on getting some of these songs down like acoustically, and any Maiden song can be broken down into just simple chords, right? And just to sing along, you could do any Maiden song by a campfire. So that made me realize and kind of think and to reverse engineer, and that I try to approach writing a song. Now, sometimes there's different approaches for different songs, but just starting on an acoustic guitar first, just trying to come up with that basic chord progression and feeling of the song, and then layer everything else after that. So that's what I learned playing the Maiden songs, and then practicing them on acoustic and all these different things, and be like, man, these are just simple chord progression, great songs. So songs like Dream Crusher and Call Me Immortal were both just written on acoustic guitar with just simple chords. Earth and Ash, same thing. So made me realize that most good songs fundamentally can just be broken down into just simple chord progressions. And for the most part, like technical death metal and like really riffy melodic depth and things like that. Maybe not so much, but you know, your standard song should just be able to get broken down into just some simple chord progressions and vocals.
Grant, thank you so much in sharing, you know, your love of Maiden, and definitely introducing a lot of people watching to some songs they may have never heard of before. So, which is pretty cool to do that with Maiden. Thank you so much for your time. Very much appreciated.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me, Belton.
You are awesome for watching this video. Click right here to see more content like it and subscribe to the channel.